Hi, this is Michael Gray.
Hi, this is the Notorious Martin C.
This is Seamus Haji.
Hi, this is Jazzy M.
Hi, this is Danny Rampling.
Hi, I'm Victor Simonelli.
This is Simon Dunmore.
It's me, Melvo Baptiste, and right now you're checking out the House Finesse podcast.
I have come down to Bristol for 2 days of surfing. I've done one session and I already hurt pretty bad. But on the way down, I'm with Andy Driver from the Driver Brothers, who have done mixes for us on House Finesse. And at the weekends, they went to one of Sam Devine's 555 events, which you may or may not know about. So she was playing 5 gigs in 5 cities, and door price was £5 at whatever time you went. And I think it was 5 till 10, so 5 hours. Which, you know, that's the whole concept. That's the whole, like, I guess, selling point of it all. So he went along, you know, reasonably close to the beginning. And he was like, oh, Sam's already playing. So there's, you know, she's not even.
She wasn't headlining at the end.
Yeah. So she was already playing. And then, like, he went and said hello and whatever. And then a couple of hours later, she was still playing. And it was like, well, who else is going to be here? So, and it turns out, I think Jess Bays turned up and he spoke to Jess Bays briefly and he said, no, Sam is doing a 5-hour set on her own. Which was really interesting, you know, to do a 5-hour set, because that's quite a long time. But Todd Terry has just, like, an interview has just come out with Todd Terry about talking about stop giving DJs hour sets, like even 2-hour sets are short. You know, DJs traditionally have taken people on a journey, and we need to get back to that. And so it's, you know, it's an interesting, like, it's a bit of a debate, if I'm honest, because I played the Casino last weekend, and I was looking for extended mixes of tracks that are coming out and defected. And extended mixes, some of them were like 3 minutes 50 for an extended mix, or 4 minutes 10. Yeah, for an extended mix. I mean, that blows my mind. So in reality, you know, if you're mixing the first, let's say, 16 bars more or less, and probably the last 16 bars for a short mix, you know, for a 30-second mix, you've still only got a 3-minute track there that you're playing. You know, you're playing 3 minutes of a track. So in an hour-long set, you're playing 20 tracks, right?
Yeah.
Which, the last time I did House Finesse podcast, I think I put 12 tracks in, and that was an hour.
About normal, 12, 13 is a sweet spot for an hour.
Yeah, so I'm sort of jumping about here, but the point being, you know, Todd Terry coming out and sort of saying, we need to go back to DJs playing a journey. We need to journey people through music. We want them to turn up, be there, experience the DJ really moving them through different phases, best they can. And then by the peak of it, you know, people have really been taken through a journey, rather than having a series of breakdowns and drops one after another for an hour. Because, you know, he's more or less saying that's a bit of a cheap shot, really, is to do this big surprise thing. And I don't know how I feel about that, because if tracks are only like 3 minutes 50 or 4 minutes long, to play a 5-hour set, I mean, you're looking at playing 100 tracks, which you could pick a top 100, right? You and I could pick a top 100 house tracks, right? But
it would take a while, but
it would be difficult to play 100 tracks, knowing every one of those tracks is going to land for the crowd.
Well, you wouldn't do that either, would you? You'd want to read the room as well as take them on a journey. Because there might be certain tracks going, I need a bit more of this. I want to keep it going.
So another thing that was interesting, and I'm going to come back to this conversation in a minute, is part of the 555 thing is the no phones rule. And what they do is, on the way in, they put stickers over cameras. So And basically,
Excellent.
you can unpeel them. You can unpeel the stickers, right, if you want to, but they kind of trust people not to do that. And I think Andy said in the entire time he was there, which was more or less the full 5 hours, he said he might have seen 3 phones come out.
Oh, very
And
good.
yeah, and he said that really changed the atmosphere for the better.
I'll bet.
This whole no phone thing and this stickers thing. So, I mean, so that's what I've experienced on the journey down to Bristol. And I thought, do you know what? That is definitely something I want to talk about. Is this length of set versus length of tunes? You know, when I first started DJing, I mean, as we know, Masters at Work. What's the Masters at Work track, like 10 minutes something? To Be in Love, the actual full version.
The To Be in Love full version is about 10.5 minutes, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're playing a 5-hour set, that's not too bad an issue because the tracks are there doing, you know, their own journey in 10 minutes, you know, with elements being added and taken away and whatever. So I thought I'd ask you what your take is on that kind of DJ should be going back to be playing 4 hours and there shouldn't be warm-up DJs. There should just be like main DJs.
Yeah. That's a really interesting point because I think I went to see Fatboy Slim a few weeks ago at Ali
Yeah.
Pali. It's the first time I've seen him live. I've always been a big like fanboy of what he does. But again, there's an element of we don't need our phones to enjoy ourselves here. For one, we can just turn up. There might be a couple of videos or photos at key points, but it was the exception to the rule, really. I think part of that was the demographic that was in attendance. There's not many young people that are phone obsessed. There's a lot more middle-aged or older people that are just enjoy the moment, which is why I like the environment. I think it helps. Fatboy's been around for 30 odd years now doing his thing.
Yeah.
Longer.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe 40.
Probably longer because, like, I guess he's been known on the DJ circuit for probably 30 years as being a big DJ. Because obviously he was in bands before that and he was making tracks before that. But when he started doing the Big Beat Boutique, that's when he started to come out as a DJ more. So
Exactly.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
the reason I bring off Fatboy, he does that thing. He takes you on a journey. He won't limit himself to an hour. You know, he's one of those DJs renowned to keep going until he's tired, which is not. He had to be pulled off the stage.
Yeah,
and okay, more. He mixes it up. He finds all the long ones, the short ones. He mashes it up. I agree in the sense that we should be not limiting DJs to an hour. I think it's hard to pick a track. I saw David Morales last year at an outdoor festival, and it felt like he was squeezing a load of tracks into his set and giving some other DJs more time to play what they had, which was not as good, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just like, and I think Sam is doing a 5-hour set pretty much on her own. Just proves people are there for her. You know, the warm-ups are great. I love a warm-up. It's a good one. But they've got to be very similar in style, in taste, and skill and ability. Happy to learn about what they do. But I'm there to be the headliner, and the warm-ups are just added to it.
That's right. That's why you buy the tickets, right? You buy the tickets because of the biggest name on the lineup. It's rarely that you look down and you go, oh, there's a local DJ there who's, you know, who's in very small writing at the bottom of the flight.
You might be like supporting them. You're going, I'm a big mate and I want to go and see him and I want to see what's going on around him. That's great. That's what I want to see as well. But reality is the big names are bringing the books and the people to make the cash for these gigs. The fact she's doing it for £5 as well is amazing. She doesn't need
that's
to
bonkers,
charge.
isn't it? That's bonkers. That's like 1990s prices for getting in a club.
Now I'm getting really itchy. I want to go out.
Yes. And he came away. He said that, you know, it was an older crowd. It was more like the Clockwork Orange kind of age crowd or that kind of sort of crowd. And people weren't going big. People were just there grooving around. You know, Sam's now been sober for, I think, a year now, completely sober, completely clean living. And actually, Andy said that, you know, he didn't drink or he was just drinking water. He bought 3 cans of water at £2.50 a drink. And that saw him through.
Can't afford it when you go out anymore.
No, exactly. But, you know, in reality, right, he's just gone out and it was in Brighton. So they did go down and get a hotel. But in reality, the night cost him £12.50 or thereabouts. So, which is insane, isn't it? Insane, really. So I wonder if not only taking people on the journey, the scene would benefit from people playing longer sets, but also the fewer DJs, I guess the fewer overheads you've got too. You
I
know,
suppose from an organisation perspective, it's going to keep the costs down, it'll keep the logistics easier. But
yeah,
we also want to explore new talent. We want to give people a platform for that.
yeah,
So find that right balance. I'm all for finding new talent. We've got Taylor on a podcast now, young lad,
mm,
probably about 20 tops. And I'm
yeah,
like, young man, show us what you got. He's getting speed garage, bringing out all the classics. I'm like, now we're talking, dude. This is what I like to
yeah,
see.
yeah,
Your
yeah,
age, I'm bringing up the new tunes, finding the belters, finding the proper originals on vinyl. Enjoy, man,
yeah.
because that's what we're not having anymore. It's all like 2-minute disposable tracks from Track Source. They just get put in a USB stick and thrown away the next week.
And they do, yeah, they do. I think the younger generation buying these vinyl tracks, going back and looking for particularly speed garage at the moment. I'm helping people produce at the moment, and a lot of people just keep saying, speed up a bit, And it's not rare for me to now be producing tracks with people at 130 and 131 BPM, which to me is absolutely crazy, given that I probably start my night at about 118 BPM in most places.
Yeah.
So and I think that going back to our older tracks were always longer conversation. Maybe the next generation will bring back the longer track because they're just bringing out the older track. They're coming back to the older tracks.
I mean, that's what we do every year, don't we? Every few cycles, it goes back to some original sound, and we'll bring it back out with a different edge. Like disco was hot in the 90s after 20 odd years, and it's come back again recently with, Simon, Fake Drifters, and all that crowd, and
and the Dr. Packers, the Michael Grays, they're refreshing the disco tracks.
They're the ones that have been there
90s.
through it all, though, and they remember what it was like originally, how to do it. I'm like, oh, you leave me back, do you? Enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we're seeing that, and definitely when I'm playing that kind of the Dr. Packer, the Michael Grays, that's definitely slightly longer, longer music, which as a DJ is helpful for going to the toilet. But also. Yeah, also following the journey and not worrying if the drop's going to land, because it's not just about the 30 seconds after the drop. So I think all of this stuff is weirdly interlinked, and it would be hard. I guess it's hard to talk about one without talking about what the influences are of the other, and to have Todd Terry, arguably still one of the biggest DJs in the world,
absolutely
come out and really. I mean, he was very passionate about DJs playing longer sets, right? And he's not young himself anymore, but he was incredibly speaking about it passionately. A shorter set would benefit him. He could play more gigs, he could get paid more money, but it's not about that, which is really refreshing to hear. And Sam Divine charging a £5, she could easily charge 20 quid, easily, right? But she's not done that. Well, yeah. So, because if you were to go and see her in any club in Ibiza, minimum ticket price is €45 minimum. More likely €70 to go and to a bigger club. Yeah. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, really. That was like almost a single subject. Now, in other news for me, I'm changing my style slightly at the moment. I'm moving away from the deeper melodic stuff, because I feel like for my personality at the moment that I've kind of got through that deeper stuff, and I'm looking for something which is going to keep my energy higher now. So we might hear some more sets from me on House Finesse where I'm kind of giving it a bit more energy. I'm trying to play slightly faster, trying to play slightly funkier. So going back more to the essence of House Finesse.
But it's always been about the variety of house, let's be honest. And when you and Matt joined us back in 2011, where it was now, it was all about mixing it up a bit more, dropping the funky part and being a bit more broad, which is why we did it.
Yeah.
But you've been on a journey in your life, that's nearly 15 years worth of time. Lots happens in that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's more apparent to me that I'm not going out to play to a younger audience.
Exactly.
I rarely look in venues, because in reality, right, when I was 20 years old and I was DJing, and even up to like 25 when I was doing sort of ministry and pasture and stuff like that, I would look around and everybody was my age. So what I find weird is I look around now and still everybody's my age. and this is 20 years on. So, and all I can
We
conclude
don't
from
fall out
that,
of love with what we do. That's why. We just
exactly.
like our music. And if I can go out and keep up with you lot now, I'll do it.
Yeah. And do you know what? Like, not a turning point, but quite something that influenced me quite a lot is something that Bjork said, right? In that she said, I love dance music. I'll always go out and dance, regardless of how old I am. Because we don't judge people for doing the waltz and the foxtrot and whatever, who were doing that 50 years ago and are still doing it now. So why do we judge people? Why is there an age limit on dance music? There isn't. If you enjoy it, go out and dance, because it's just a form of dancing, like a foxtrot or a waltz or one of these that typically you would say that older people enjoy, right? And that's because they also enjoyed it when they were 20, as did we enjoy music when we were 20, and we still enjoy it now. Very similar sounds. So
You're right.
So I feel like, because I'm noticing this more, that I'm changing my style to make it a bit more like, well, I'm not talking about playing classics only, but I am talking about like the remixes now that are coming out of the tunes that were coming out in the 90s, and so I find that I now need to lend myself to that, because if I don't evolve, then I'm going to die ultimately. Not die obviously physically, but as a DJ,
on your ass.
the game's up. And there's so many people who say stick with what you do, because eventually it will come back round to you. But there's nothing wrong with evolution. So what I'm seeing is driving my evolution to kind of go back to this kind of funkier sound, and that's definitely going to be present in House Finesse for the rest of the year. I think that you'll kind of go, oh, he's got a bit of energy back in the room again.
Wicked.
So,
I, for one, approve of this decision. That's great.
Yeah.
And actually, it's something I've realised I've done this week in my mix for the podcast. Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff that was very hot in the 90s, early noughties. Bit of a fresher spin. There's a few remixes that have come through. There's even a 9-minute edit. I'm like, yes, now we're talking.
Wow.
Yeah, it's one of Seamus Hardy's on it. It's on his label. But I was like, they're not originals. All these are remixes and resamples.
Yeah.
But it's stuff I've always loved. And I was listening to it going, you know what? That track sounds like the early days of Funky House Finesse. Like some of the tracks I used to play then. The Shaolin Master sort of track. I'm like, that's nice. I'll use that. But funnily enough, we've got to listen to Magic Soul Radio a lot in the house now, because it's got all the sort of ages of from disco to now.
Yeah.
And there was one about Janet Jackson, That's the Way Love Goes. I was like, oh, I love that track. And I found it on release recently. I can't remember what the label was. I'll dig it out. I'm like, that's it. That's the opening track, man. It's great. And I'm like,
why not?
Bring back these sort of 90s vibes that I would love. It's stuff I grew up on, and I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Because to a lot of people who are younger, it's new music because they haven't heard it before. They weren't around in the 90s. People who are now 26 weren't around in the 90s. So if you have people you're blank
scary,
between the ages of 20 and 26, this is new to them to a degree. And then you seem to have this gap in the middle where people are obviously settling down and having families and whatever. And those who are now having families are coming back out again. And to them, it's nostalgia. Oh, I think I'm being summoned. So I'm going to, I might have to can it here, dude. All right,
Good chat.
Yeah, cool.
Enjoy it.
See you in a bit.